Good morning, everybody. We're on Daf Peh, and we're continuing to discuss the various melachot, especially carrying, and what is the minimum amount. And now we're talking about the minimum amount of ink that one can carry on Shabbat. So the Mishnah, and I'll jump back and forth a bit so that you can see the Mishnah. Mishnah up here said ink. Is diyo kedei lichtob shetei otiyot. 2 letters worth of ink is the minimum amount of ink that is significant, and so if you carry that much, it is not allowed. Okay. Now back to Peh. Sorry. And here we are. Tana, we have a baraita. Shtei otiyot bediyo. Ushte otiyot bekolmos, shte otiyot bekalmarin. Ink can come in 3 forms: dry ink on a piece of paper, ink that's in on a quill, and ink that is in an inkwell, just like this. This is a portable one. And so the exact amount might be a little different because the ink in the inkwell, you got to transfer it to the quill, and then so you lose a little bit. And from the quill, it goes to the paper, and then you lose a little bit. But no matter which way it is, it's going to be 2 letters worth. It'll be slightly more in the inkwell than in the quill. Okay, so these are 3 different forms of ink, and you need 2 letters in each form, and in any of the forms to be chayav. Now Rava is going to have a series of 5 statements. The first one is a question. Ba'e Rava ot achat bedyo, ot achat bekolmos, ot achat bekalmarin, mahu teku. If I carry enough ink for 1 letter in the inkwell, and also enough to write 1 letter in the quill, and enough for 1 dried letter, do they combine and to form a shiur or not? He doesn't know. Right? Are they basically all the same ink, or are they different categories altogether? Amar Rava, hotzi shete otiyot ve'uchtavan keshehu mehalech chayav. Ketibatan zohi hanachatan. This is an interesting case. We know in the Hilchot Shabbat that you need hotza'ah and hanacha. You have to both take something out of the house and put it down. You need both of those things to be chayav for carrying. And so if I carry out liquid ink, and then while I'm walking, I write it, and it dries, and now it transformed from one category of ink to another. And so you might say, I never actually put it down, because by the time I put it down, it was a different form, transformed. But Rava says, no, you don't say that. The writing of it is its placing, is its putting it down. Even though I'm writing while I'm walking, still the writing is the placement, and so chayav.
Are you writing it on a stationary object, like as you walk by, and like you're writing it on a tree?
Oh, right, maybe, or on a paper. It's not clear. Right, that's a good question. If it was writing on a tree, then certainly that would be the placement. I think that would be too simple. I would assume that it's writing even as on something that you're carrying, and the right act of writing. Oh, bigger chidush. But maybe it's too big a chidush. Maybe it's only what you said. Ve'amar Rava, hosi ot achat uchtava, ve'chazar v'hosi ot achat uchtava. Patur. I go out with just a little bit of ink enough for 1 letter, and I write it down, let's say on a tree. And then I go back and get another one, and I write it down. Patur. They don't combine. Why? My ta'ama. Bidana de afkad lebatraita, haser la l'shiura de kamaita. At the time when I take out the second one, the first one, see, when it dries, it gets smaller. And so now it have a less of a shiur, or it's just a different category. Once it's dried, it's now dry ink, and now when I take out the second one, it will not combine with the wet ink that I took out to begin with.
Is that right? Are you reading that right? Can we read that again?
Beta, why is the whole thing?
Yeah.
I took out 1, so it's only 1, so it's half a shiur. So right. I'm not going to be chayav. I wrote it down. Now it's there. Now I'm carrying a second one. The second one that I'm carrying is liquid ink. The one that's already there is dry ink, right? Patur. Patur for the whole thing. Why? Beidana, at the time, the afka that I carried out, la batraita, the second one, the latter one, haser le shiura the kamaita, the shiur of the first one is lacking.
That's so strange. Why can't you just say you don't have a shiur on the second one?
Because if the first one had or still been liquid ink, then it would combine. If I put it in a little inkwell out there and then the second one in a little inkwell out there,
but
they
you're
would
not carrying them at the same time.
No, separate times.
But if you carry half a shiur each time, you don't say, "Oh, it doesn't combine because the first shiur is less than." No, you don't. You're carrying half a shiur. Why do multiple carryings?
It has to be there. If I carry half of a date and I put it down, that's going to be the next case. And then mouse comes and eats a little bite of it, and then I carry another half a date, patur, because both halves of the date have to be there. The first half has to be there when I carry out the second half.
So your multiple carryings are mitzaref, the shiurim?
Yes. If I do them within one, with one lapse of knowledge, I'll bring one chatat. They do combine.
Okay.
All right, I can bring little by little, as long as it reaches the minimum threshold. You could bring it in increments. So that's relates to the next case. Amarava hosi hasi gerogeret achat v'nicha. I got half a fig and I put it down. Hasar vehosi hasi gerogeret achat v'nicha. Another half a fig and I put it down. Rishona naasa kemi shekalta keleb o nisrefa upatur. We make it as if the first one, a dog ate it, or it went on fire, and patur. So Talmud asks, this is strange. Amai, hamancha, why? I put it down. It's there. Why you say patur? It should be mistaref. Achika amar, this must be the case. Vim kadam ve'igbiya rishona kodem hanachat sheniya naasit rishona kemi shenikleta o shenisrefa upatur. The case is when I put down one half of a fig. Then I went and I moved it. And then I brought a second fig and I put it in the original spot. So then they do not combine, even though I had put it in that spot, but because it's not there now, so they do not combine into one. Ve'amarava hosi hasi gerogeret v'hinicha ve'chazar ve'hosi hasi gerogeret ve'habira derech aleha hayab. Related case, if I bring a half a fig and I put it down in the spot, and then I take another half of a fig and I carry it nearby, right over the first fig. I don't put it down, but I'm carrying it and it's passing by the first fig, hayab. At that moment that's passing by, it connects, it's mistaref. Talmud asks, V'amai, halonach, why? I didn't put it down. So why should it connect with the first one if it's still in the air? It must be a case where I carried it within 3 tefachim. Like in the sukkah, 3 tefachim is lavud. You consider the fence like it's all filled in. So to here, since it's close to the ground, I consider the 3 tefachim as if it's actually on the ground. And so as I'm carrying and it passes over the spot, it's as if it's on the ground.
They just upended the Rava's statement.
What?
Rava may have had a chidush in his statement, but they just took it away.
Right. Yeah, so you have to do some work to reconstruct all the statements of Rava, because actually 4 and 5, if you take them at face value, don't work with each other. Because if you take half and put it down, then it's a patur. But if it's in the air, then hayav. Right. So we have to do some work to figure out what Rava meant. That's what the Gemara is trying to do. But you could try to reconstruct it in a different way. Kegon Shebira, I don't think Yerushalmi, I didn't look at Yerushalmi, but it's probably not going to help here. Ravaz is not quoted very often in the Yerushalmi. He's like the cutoff by the time that his statements don't go from Babel to Eretz Yisrael, except in a few cases, but not much. So can Rava really say that? Hamar Rava toch shelo shel Rabbanan sarich hanacha al gabe mashehu. Rava said that has to actually land on something. It can't be flying in the air. It's got to land. Lakashya kan bezoreh kan be ma'abir. Oh, the second statement was talking about if you throw it. If I stand here and I throw it, then it's not considered landing unless it lands, and it's not enough if it just hovers. Whereas this statement is where I'm carrying it. So when I'm carrying it and I'm passing by, really every step I'm taking is in a way kind of putting it down. And so there, if it's within 3 tefachim of the first fig that I put, then it's as if it's rested there. And then we combine the 2 halves of figs and we say hayav. Okay, those are the 5 statements of Rava. We're going to continue on this theme of taking out halves of things. Tanura Banan, Baraita says, Hosi, Hasi Gerogeret, Vehazar Vehosi, Hasi Gerogeret, Behalem Ehad, Hayab. So I forgot that carrying is not allowed, and I take out one fig, and then I take out another fig, and then I remember. So those 2 halves do, in fact, combine. That's halakha that we are already assuming. However, b'shtei ha'alamot patur. If I carry out half a fig, and then I remembered, oh, carrying is not allowed. I took the half a fig out. All right, I'll try not to do that again. Then I take a nap, and I wake up, and I forget again, and I take out another half of a fig. And then I say, oh, I remember that because they're in 2 separate lapses of memory, patur, I don't have to bring a korban. That's Tanakama. Rabbi Yosef is more mekel. He says, "Behalem ehad l'rshut ahad hayav l'shtei reshuyot patur." Even if it's within the same lapse of memory, if I'm taking it out to 2 different reshut harabim, then patur. I took a half a fig this way and that way. A nice example, I'm thinking, in let's say the Belt Parkway is reshut harabim, right? Eastbound and westbound, right, are separate reshut harabim because there's a divider in the middle. Right? So if I'm on the divider and I put one here, and then I go and put a half a fig on the other one, they're not mistaref because they're 2 different reshut harabim. Amar Rabba, sheyesh chayub hatat benehem. Amar Karmelit lo. He says this statement of Rabbi Yosef only applies if there's a reshut hayachid in the middle. So in the Belt Parkway they have that gas station right in the middle. Right? So if I'm in that gas station, which is a shut hayachid, I take half a fig and I put it on the eastbound. Then I take a half fig and put it on the westbound. Because there's a shut hayachid in the middle, there's going to be chayuv chatat because I'm transferring from the shut hayachid to the shut harabim each time. But if it's only a karmelit in the middle, in other words, if I stand on the grass part is shut harabim derabanan. And so, therefore, taking it from Karmelit to Reshut Harabim is not going to be chayav no matter what. So even if I do both of them at once, patur. That's Rabba's opinion. Abaye Amar, afilu Karmelit, aval pisla lo. Even Karmelit would work for this. If I'm standing on the grass, one here, and I put one there, patur. But if it's only a divider, let's say like that metal divider, and no grass, right, nothing, it's only a small thing, then I would not apply the Yosef's statement, and I would combine them bichayav. Rabba Amar, afilu pisla, even just a brick. If there's just one brick in the middle, and I carry one here and one there, it's still considered separate. Why? And he learns, he makes a comparison to gitin. And the laws of gitin, if I want to divorce my wife, only theoretically, right? And let's say I have to get it to her, but she's not around, so I can rent out a courtyard, and so I throw it in the courtyard, and then it's hers. So let's say I throw it, but I have bad aim, and it lands in the courtyard, but not on the floor, instead on a brick that's in the courtyard. So I didn't lend her the brick. So now the brick, according to Rava says, is its own reshut. That's a law of gitin. And so just like in gitin, the brick is its own reshut, so too regarding Shabbat, that block will be its own reshut. And so if I carry from the block to one half, the block to the other half, the block is considered a separation between 2 reshut harabim areas. Okay, kehol kedei lichol ayin ahat. The Mishnah said that if you carry enough eye shadow to color blue one eye, ayin ahat hala kachle. Whoever colors one eye. Amar Rav Huna sheken sinoot kochlot ayin ahat. Women who are very modest, they will color only one eye because they'll put a scarf not only over their whole face, even over that eye. I think that's funny because if they were so modest, maybe they would just not put on makeup at all. Right? Okay, but they're going to a wedding, so they got to look pretty, right? All right, I hope they get a discount from the makeup lady, with the one eye discount.
So do the Rishonim talk about that? Do they say it's like the same color as the scarf so that it blends in?
I'm sure they made it match.
Yeah.
Metibe Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar Omer kechol im lirfuah kedei lechol ayin achat im lekashet b'shtei einayim. This makes sense. If you're doing it, if you're putting medication using it for medication, then one eye, because usually only one eye is infected, you need medication there. If it's for makeup, then two eyes. So he disagrees. Tidgema. So this is a question on Rav Huna. What do you mean, Rav Huna? Whoever colors one eye. You see, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar says it would make you color two eyes for makeup. Tidgema Hillel bered Rabbi Shemuel v'Nachamani ki Tanya hahi be'iraniyot. This is talking about, Rabbi Shimon's talking about those who live in villages. The women who live in villages, they don't cover their eyes. They keep eyes open and they do too. But those who live in the bigger cities, where there's more people and you need to be more modest, they cover one eye. And so that's what that's what Rav Huna was referring to.
Is this historically accurate?
I don't know if people covered one eye. I'm not sure. It'd be hard to have seeing depth, but again, they didn't have glasses, so most people were half blind anyway.
I just feel like he was just trying to come up with a reason to say why would someone be wearing makeup on one eye, and he was like, "Oh, maybe they're being modest." I don't know, something like
Yeah.
Or it could have been. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it.
Right.
I
Okay, but
agree.
Mishnah does say one eye, so we got to figure out. I mean, we're assuming that nobody would use less. Maybe that's still a significant amount, right? Even if nobody would do it, that is one eye's worth is something that you would save. Something that you say, that's if it's a little dot, that's nothing.
Right. It's like kind of with with the bread. It's kind of like when we said if the poor man would eat it, then that's considered like a minimum amount.
Right.
Like then, but only if one person does it, then it applies to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Even if nobody does it, really, like only special cases.
Right, but they're here, right? Maybe it's really nobody does it. Nobody does it at all. Is it? Right? Okay,
Right,
so even if nobody does it, it can still be considered a significant amount. Z.
The other thing is with Rav Huna, it seems like a historical reconstruction because it's so much later. But then you bring in Rabbi Shimon, who's I'm assuming much earlier than him, and just gives you.
Yeah. By the way, anything bold is a Tanaitic source. That's my key.
Just gives you a simple answer. Oh yeah, because one's for refuah, one is for one is for makeup. And Rav Huna didn't understand that concept. He said, "Oh, it must be that they were very, very modest and only covered."
Okay, right. That's true. Okay, right. Based on Rabbi Shimon, we can say the kachol of one eye means that used for medication. Very good. Okay, shava, wax, kedeliten al pi nekeb katan, to cover up a small hole. That's what the Mishnah said. Tana, we have a braita, kedeliten al pi nekeb katan shel yayin. It repeats it word for word, but adds shel yayin, a wine barrel. Specifically, a wine barrel is smaller and needs less wax than would a barrel of oil or something else, because you make a smaller hole in wine because it's more liquidy than honey or other substances where you have to make a bigger hole. So it's being the baraita here is being a little bit more machmir, a more machmir interpretation of the Mishnah. But you could see this early Talmud, which is just a quick Tanaitic, just a quick baraita that relates to the Mishnah. Debek kedeliten berosh hashafshaf, glue to put on top of a branch to catch a bird. Tana kedeliten berof shafshaf sheberosha sheberosh kaneh shel sayadin. It's to put. They didn't put it on a twig. It's not enough. It's going to be a small board that the bird could land on. That would be at the end of a stick of bird hunters, which might be a little bit more mekel. We need a little bit more glue for that. Zefet gofrit kedeh laasot nekeb. So this is pitch would be to make a small hole. Tana kedeh laasot nekeb katan, adding a small hole. Okay. Alpi nekeb katan. Well, that's here. So nekeb, right? The Mishnah just said nekeb. We're adding nekeb katan, a small one. Okay. Harsit kedeh laasot pikur. So some earthenware to make a small hole in a crucible, and then fill up the hole so that you could put the bellows in and make a nice airtight seal. That's what you need that for. Lememra de shiura de Rabbi Yehuda nafish. Look back in the Mishnah. Harsit kedei lasot pikul shel sorfei zahav, for those who smelt gold. Rabbi Yehuda omer kedei lasot pitput. He said enough to make a tripod on which the crucible stays. So that looks like it's a bigger amount, which means Rabbi Yehuda is more mekel compared to Chachamim. And that's what we're going to ask on. Is this to say that Rabbi Yehuda has a bigger shiur, has more mekel? If you carry all that much, you can even carry that much and still be okay. Hakamelan de shiura de Rabbanan nafish titnan. Rabbi Yehuda omer kedeli told hemenu midat min al lekatan. In a different case where we saw before regarding a rope, we saw that Rabbi Yehuda was machmir. The Tanna Kama said enough rope to make a handle of a basket, and Rabbi Yehuda said enough to measure the shoe of a child, which is a smaller amount. So we see Rabbi Yehuda in that case is machmir, and over here you're saying he's mekel. Shouldn't he be consistent and be machmir all the time? Yes. Ema kedela sud pitput kira ketana. It's just to fill in the cracks of a tripod, not to make a whole tripod. A small tripod, filling in a little bit, that's an even lesser amount than the filling in of the hole that the Tanna Kama says. Okay. Subin, bran, kedeli ten al pikur shel sorfei zahav. You put some bran and on top of the crucible in the opening to keep the heat in and make it very hot. Tanu Rabbanan hamosi se'ar kedei legabel bo hatit. Tit la'asot pikur shel sorfei zahav. So just adding that sometimes you would add hair into the clay and it would bind it and make the clay strong. And so how much hair? Enough hair to make clay. How much clay? Enough for this amount.
I think they still do that, or they were doing it until the early part of the last century.
Yeah. It's going to come up again, this adding stuff to clay. Sid kedeh lasud. Lime, enough to do a lime. Mishnah said kedeh lasud ketana sheba banot. Okay, in the Mishnah itself, it sounds like enough to lime to take off the hair of the smallest of girls, a small girl, right? But it sounds like she would do it to her whole body, but it sounds like it would be the whole person. Tana kedei lasud etzba ketana sheba banot. Baraita says no, not the whole person, but when it says ketana sheba banot, it means the smallest limb, a pinky of a girl. That's how much it is. So it's much less. Amar Rav Yehuda Marav. Benot Yisrael shegiu lepirkan velo giu leshanim. A girl who reached puberty but is not of age yet, but she's already showing signs. Benot aniyim toflot otan basid. So they would want to remove their hair. They were embarrassed in front of their friends because their friends didn't have hair and they started growing early, and so they would remove it. If they were poor, they would use lime. Benot ashirim toflot otan besolet. If they were rich, they would use fine flour. Benot melachim toflot otan beshemen hamor. And if they were princesses, then they would use myrrh oil. Shene'emar shishach hodashim beshemen hamor, from Megillat Esther. Right? They took all the contestants of the beauty pageant and put them for 6 months sitting in oil. It can't be very good for you.
Does oil remove hair? Is that I'm a little confused.
Not that I know.
If you boil in it for 6 months, it might.
Hey, great.
Okay, I'm not sure exactly how they did it, but somehow it was better than the lime one. My shemen hamor Rav Huna bar Chaya amar stecht, which is a Greek word. It means perfumed oil. We actually have it in Greek, stachete, which is oil of myrrh. And it be about amar shemen zayit shelo hebia shelish. No, it means or olive oil from an olive that has only ripened a third. So it's very bitter. That's why it's called mor, like mar. Tanya, Rabbi Yehuda omer, an piknon Shemen Zayit Shelo Habia Sheli. She brings another name for this, and Piknon. That's the same. That's the 1/3 ripened olive oil. Why do they use that? Because it both removes the hair and it also makes the flesh nice and rich. And so that's why it was preferable.
Yeah, Rabbi, I actually heard that the Greeks used to like they didn't have showers, so they would put oil on their body and use a rock to like scrape off the outer layer of their
That's
skin.
correct. That's the way they cleansed them. They only went they only cleansed once a week. They put some oil and they took like a metal striggle, I think it's called strigil, and they scrape off the dirt. So perhaps that would work for taking off the hair as well. Maybe it was like a razor.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Okay. Rav Bevai. This is a fun story. Good, a little comedic break in the middle of these details. Rav Bevai Avyala Berata. He had a daughter. Tafla Eber Shakal Ba Arba Me'od Zuzeh. And he smeared lime and or maybe oil on every part of her body, but did it one limb by limb. And he got 400 zuz for her. In other words, she had so many suitors because her skin looked so rich that everyone wanted her, and he was able to get 400 zuz for her bride price. There was an Anju who lived in his village. He also had a daughter, and he saw, wow, look at that. He did this. He did the smearing, and he was able to get 400. So he smeared his daughter also, but he did her whole body in one shot, not limb by limb. Umeta, and she died because the heat that it produced, she overheated. She got a fever. It wasn't the right way to do it. Amar katal Rabbevai liberati. You see anti-Semitism again, right? Always blaming the Jew, right? He says Rabbevai, he didn't, he announced this thing in 400, he didn't tell us how to do it the proper way, and so he blames Rabbevai for killing his daughter. All right, kind of a sad story. Amar Rav Nachman, Rabbevai deshate shichra bayan benate tafla. Rav Nachman said Rabbevai was unusual. You know why his daughter was so hairy? Because they drink a lot of beer. That's why he had to do the smearing on her. But we don't drink so much beer, so our daughters do not need to do the smearing. All right, so Rebbe Bai got two insults.
The idea that hard liquor puts hair on your chest has precedent.
Right. Okay, apparently on your legs too. All right. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Kedeh lasud kilkul. So this is here back to the seed. This is where the first opinion was enough for that. Rabbi Yehuda says enough for kilkul. Rabbi Nechemiah says Kedeh lasud undapi. Okay, so remember, these Rabbi Yehuda says kilkul. This has something to do with still the lime, putting it on your forehead for some kind of hairdo. We'll see what they mean. My kilkul, my andipi. What are these two things that Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Nechemiah say? Amarav sid'ah ubat sid'ah. Kilkul is talking about putting it on the forehead to kind of slick the hairs back. And sid'ah is to put a little bit on the forehead to remove the small hairs on the forehead. And that's what the Yehuda and the Nechemiah are talking about. Hold on, now you're saying it looks like they're in order, and then the Yehuda is saying it's a little bit more to do this, to smear it back. And he's supposed to be the most machmir, so he should give the least amount. Oh, in fact, he is in the middle. Zutad Rabbanan v'nafish mid Rabbi Yehuda. His amount is less than Rabbanan. Rabbanan, who said that to put it on a pinky is more than the smearing. So Rabbi Yehuda is more machmir compared to Rabbanan. But Rabbi Nechemiah is even more machmir than he is, who says that just take off the little hairs that are on the forehead. We have a question about this. Amar Rabbi Nirim divrei Rabbi Yehuda behabut, divrei Rabbi Nechemiah bebesat hasid. Rabbi does this in a few other times. He tries to compromise and say, I agree with both, but in different cases. So he says, I think Rabbi Yehuda would be right. If it's dissolved lime, then you put it to smear to hold down the hair. But Rabbi Nechemiah would sound like better if it's not dissolved, but a lump of lime. That would be better to put on to take off the hair. But if in fact you're talking about both that you put on the forehead, then both of them would be better if they were a lump, not if they were dissolved. So we don't like this definition of Rav. Ella amar Rabbi Yitzchak amar debe Rabbi Ameh andipa. Oh, it's talking about to fill in the holes of a barrel with two spigots. That's what you use this lime for, and that's what kilkul means. Hold it. Would you take this lime and use it for that? First of all, it's an expensive item, and the lime is gonna be eaten away, and it's not even gonna be good. You're gonna ruin the whole thing. It's not a good usage of lime to cover the spigots. Ella amarav kahana shenatot. It's markings. If you have like a measuring cup and you put lines for the markings, you put some lime on the markings to make them stay and make them bright. That's what it was used for, and that's what kilkul means. Maybe like kilal, a kind of a measurement. Kiditnan shenatot hayu bahin ad kan lepad, ad kan le'ayil, ad kan lekebes. In the Bet HaMikdash, they had different measuring cups to measure how much blood would be for each kind of animal. Mai andipa aputa, and other people say it means forehead. V'chiha deha bad galil. There was a certain man from the north who went to Bavel. From the Galilee, went to Bavel. And so he came to Bavel, and he said, "Oh, you're from Israel? You must know Maaseh Merkabah. Tell us about the metaphysical secrets of the chariots." He says, okay, I will tell you what I heard from the rabbi in Israel, Rabbi Nechemiah, what he told his friends. I will repeat over to you. A hornet came, min kutla, that was in the hole in the wall, be'andipi umit. Here's the word, andipi, and it stung him in the forehead, and he died. Mandile dale. We got what was coming to him. So the point of the story is you're not allowed to teach the secrets of Maaseh Merkava in public. And here, this rabbi is going to Bavel, and he doesn't even know who he's talking to, and he's revealing the secrets. So that's not a good idea. And so, as to prevent him from saying them, this hornet went and killed him. We bring this story only because it says the word andipi, and andipi here means forehead. And so, therefore, we learn from here that in fact this does mean forehead, and so we kind of go back to the original opinion. Okay, now we're up to the next Mishnah that says Adama ke hotam ha marsufin dibre Rabbi Akiba v'chachamim omerim ke hotam ha igarot. If you have earth, be a thick clay, the minimum amount is enough to stamp a sack of a storage sack. You put your stamp on it. This belongs to me. That's the opinion of Rabbi Akiva. Chamim say a stamp that would be on a letter, which is a smaller amount. Zebel bechol hadak, manure and thin sand, which is good for fertilizer. Kedel zebel kelach shel kerub, that should be enough for a cabbage to fertilize one cabbage plant. That's Rabbi Akiva's opinion. Chamim say a leek plant, which is smaller, and so it would be even less and more machmir. Chol hagas, thick sand, kedeh liten al melo kaf seed, enough to mix that you would use to prepare the lime. It would be a trowel full of this cement. Kaneh kedeh lasot kulmus, a reed, enough to make a reed to write for a writing pen. V'maya'abeh o merusas, kedei lebashel bo besa kala shebabesim tirufa benutuna be'ilfas. And if the reed was too thick or could not be used for a pen, then it would be only could be used for fuel. and so be enough to cook an egg, the lightest cooking egg, um, uh, uh, fried and already in a pot that's hot. So in other words, the smallest amount, right? A scrambled egg in oil, which doesn't need a lot of cooking. That's the Mishnah. That's the minimum amounts. Al melo kaf seed. Okay, what does that mean? This is sand to put into the mix for the lime wash. Tana kedeliten al pi kaf shel sayadin. Enough sand. It seems that they would add sand to the kaf shel sayadin, to the lime, and so it would be enough to add to that mixture, enough sand to add to the mixture to fill up a travelful. Mantana de hol ma'ale le seed. Who thinks that you add sand to the lime plaster? Amar Rav Chisda Rabbi Yehudahi de Tanya lo yasud adam et beto besid ela imken irev bo teben o hol. The Tanakama says that you should not use plaster in your house unless you add to it straw or sand. Why? Because straw or sand actually make it worse. They make the color duller. And this is to remember the destruction of the Bet HaMikdash. You shouldn't use bright, nice plaster, but rather you should make it more dull with teben and chol. And so you see here that chol actually makes it worse. And so this cannot be the Tana over here that says you definitely always put chol. Rabbi Yehuda Omer teben mutar chol asur mipnei shehu trachsid. He says you can put teben because that will make it duller and so appropriate for a post Bet HaMikdash. But don't put chol, don't put sand, because putting sand makes it very strong plaster and actually improves it, and that would be inappropriate in post destruction Bet HaMikdash to remember. So paradoxically, the point is that Rabbi Yehuda thinks that putting chol is very good and helps it. So therefore, he is the Tana that says it would be sand enough to add to the chol. Rava notices the paradox and says, "Afilu tema Rabbanan kilkulo zehu tikuno." So no, it can even be the rabbis. The fact that the chol makes it more dull is helpful because now we can use it, right? Because we want to remember the Bet HaMikdash, and we're not allowed to use the very bright plaster, and so we have to add the sand, and so therefore everyone adds the sand, and so although it makes it worse, it makes it usable. Okay, that's the sand. And two more items. Kaneh kedei la'asot kolmos, enough to make a reed pen. Tana kolmos hamagia likishrei etzbe'otav. How big is it going to be until it gets to your knuckles? Right? It can't be just a little tiny, when you have the edge, the little bit of lead that you try to write with. No, it's got to be a good size. Which of the knuckles? Right? The knuckles here or the knuckles there? Teko, we're not sure which ones. Now this is talking about the right. If the reed was thick, then use it for fuel. Tana tirufa b'shemen utuna be'ilfas. Baraita adds that it would be fried with oil, which make it even faster to cook, and placed in a frying pan. Amar le mor bere de ravina libre. This teacher said father said to his son, have you ever heard an opinion about this? What does it mean, betzak kala, an easy cooking egg? What is an easy cooking egg? The son says, a small dove egg is very easy to cook. The father asks, Mishum de zutrata, because it's small. So the father says, Ema de sifrata. So a hummingbird is even smaller. Why don't you use a hummingbird egg? Ishtik, the kid didn't know. Now the son says, I don't know. Maybe my dad knows. Right? Sometimes my father's asking a question because he actually has the answer. He wants the son to ask. So the son says, Dad, do you know? It's an egg of a hen. Why do you call it a light egg? שיערו חכמים, אין לך ביצה קלה לבשר יותר מביצת תרנגולת. Because the rabbis did an experiment, they tested them all out, and there's none that is easier, faster to cook than a chicken egg. ומה ישנה כל שיעורי שבת כגרוגרת, ואחר כביסה. And now we have a question regarding all the shiurim, all the measurements of Shabbat. We always say it's the amount of a fig, but here you say it's an egg. In other words, the amount of reed that you would need to the minimum amount to cook would be the amount to cook an egg. But that's an egg is bigger than a fig, right? So how come over here it's an egg full? No, actually you don't have to cook a whole egg. Even a date's size of an egg, if you mix it and make a scrambled egg, not the whole egg, but only a piece of it. So the shiur is a gerogeret, but it would be a gerogeret of a chicken egg, which is the fastest to cook, and that would be the amount of reeds to do that. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen ve'amen.